Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below how your month has been. Alright, so in today's video, I'm not sure what to think at this point because me personally, I don't care for drama, but it seems to always be coming around me. Honestly, it's probably just the type of person I am, for the simple fact if I'm the kind that would just say what I think and be honest about it, I ain't gonna lie. And a lot of people really don't like that. So, that seems to stir people up. But pretty much what I'm getting at is there has been, I thought, in my mind, I thought that it was supposed to be now calm. But we was trying to have a good day one day and went over to one of the parents' house and the stuff got started up. So it was a fun winning battle for me and a fun losing battle for them. So anyways, one day we of course went over to the parents' house. We go in and I was like, oh hey, like I'm walking to the door like, oh hey, it's so nice to see y'all. I know it's been a few days, but still nice to see y'all. Well, I went over there to go and sit down and just have a nice little conversation, and he gets up and he looks at me, he goes, I got a question for you. And I was like, okay. He looks at me and he says, so what do you have against Karen? And as soon as he said that, I was like, oh great, now I gotta talk about her again. And so of course I started telling him pretty much from the beginning kind of stuff, all the way up until even today stuff. But yeah. And he's over here trying to make me feel sympathy, and I'm like, well, considering how Karen is and the way that she does things, I'm not the kind that's gonna feel sympathy for somebody like that, because in the end, it's not my problem. I'm not the one that caused the problem, it ain't my problem, and I ain't bothered to fix it. And then, after all was said and stuff, I was still in the process of talking to, he ends up turning around and walking out the room, so I looked at the one that she was still friends with, and I was like, well, I'm not the one that made the choice. And then I come to find out that one, they took the keys away from her at first, and then another person gave them back to her. And they was trying to make me feel sympathy by saying, oh, well, Karen and this person has been friends for 40 some years. Okay. But that don't give her a right to bully me. I don't care how many years anybody who has been friends. If you gon' bully, well then guess what? No sympathy, because no. And on top of that, whenever I started talking to her about it, I pretty much told her, I said, well, I think it's still pretty messed up that whenever we finally get out, she quits bullying me because she can't, and then she turns around and bullies the person that she's friends with. And I guess I touched her heart because she looked at me and said, oh, I love you. And I was like, well, I love you too, but that's just how I am. Like, I'm the kind that you mess with me, I really don't care, but you mess with my family, you got another thing coming. Like, you want to put up a fight, let's put up a fight. And so then finally eventually all that ended, and we was sitting there hanging out and stuff, and the rest of it was kind of a good time, but at the same time it was like when are we getting out of here, because I don't want to deal with him anymore and his bad mood and stuff. But it was a good time with her. Everybody for the most part had fun. And now that we're finally done with that story, Mother's Day is right around the corner. So let me know how y'all's Mother's Day is going and what y'all's plans are. For me personally, I was trying to make plans for both of the mamas, but of course it's a tight situation right now, so we're doing what we can. But we had plans yesterday, and by this morning or early evening, they got changed up. And then, of course, now they didn't respond until like 7 or 8 p.m. trying to say a bunch of other stuff, like one person saying, well, if y'all are going, we're going here, but if y'all ain't going, we're going there. And so we got in contact with other people and made plans again. And so since then we've decided to stick with the plans, and the other side is not happy with that, even though if they're the ones that switching at the last minute. But honestly, I don't care. I'm just that kind that I can't do a switch up at all times, especially whenever it comes to like family. Now, if it's a job thing, that's a different story. That's a completely different story, because honestly, here soon I might actually be working. But in the end, the way that I see it at an actual job is I like to keep busy. And now that we're on that topic, so what I mean by I like to keep busy, as in pretty much with any job, whenever I'm done with one task, I like to go ahead and find another one, because in the end, whenever I'm at an actual job, I like to stay busy, because one, that means I'm actually doing my job, and then two, I like to get things done, because in the end, they are going to have to be done again eventually. So it keeps me occupied, it makes the time go by, and that's honestly just what I like, because in the end, I don't want to sit there, and I am that kind that is unable to just sit there and stare at a clock while I'm at work, because it goes by way too slow. I've done that a few times, especially for night shift. An old job that I used to have, I was the one that had to go in at like 6 p.m. until like 6 a.m. And I think by 12 or 1 o'clock, I was sitting there staring at the time, just wondering, like, I was trying to find things to keep me occupied, because I was just ready to go home. Like, what else am I supposed to do? Like, I already got everything done, and nothing really needs to be done until in the morning, so it's kind of just boring. But the whole reason why I was there was to take care of people, but she was knocked out the whole time for the most part. But then eventually they made it to where you could actually take a nap, and if she woke you up, then you immediately had to get up and go help take care of her, which wasn't bad. But whenever you're in a job, especially somebody with sleeping problems, I can say that's a little bit difficult to sleep, because one, there wasn't really nowhere comfy to lay. And if you was tired, I mean, you might be able to sleep somewhere comfortably, but you gotta be tired. And plus two, it was a little creepy, and so of course that didn't really help either. And to say a little bit more about that old job, is that it wasn't the most fun, considering who was in quotes my boss, which she wasn't actually the boss, but apparently over me she was the boss, and then she had her boss on top of that, which was the actual boss. But anyways, at this time, of course, I was dealing with my really bad migraines, and it was just super bad, because honestly I did not have any medicine for it at that time. I'm pretty sure at that time I was taking everything over the counter, and it still would not work. I was still in a lot of pain. And I think this was the times when they weren't so bad that I went to the ER, but they was getting bad enough to where I couldn't work or anything. Like, I had to be in bed for a while. And so going to work with those was not easy. And then another time that I also remember, because of this person, not the one I was going to take care of, but the one that was apparently my boss. One day, she was in good condition, by the way. These times, like, if she ever had a headache, she got to stay home and all that stuff. But anyways, one day I had gotten really sick and I couldn't pretty much stay away from the bathroom, and couldn't hardly even talk either because I was that sick. And she ended up sending me into work anyways, and I'm pretty sure at that time I was contagious. So she ended up sending me into work anyways, and from what I can remember is the whole time I was working that 12-hour shift, I was in that one area the whole time except for whenever I was getting called for, and I'd have to try and get myself out of the bathroom ASAP and then go take care of what I needed to take care of. And then, of course, not long after that, I ended up having to run back. And I think at one point in time, I ended up getting tired of it, so I think I even stopped drinking for a few hours until I got back to where I was supposed to be. And then from there, I got me some liquids in my system and stuff. And eventually it all, of course, finally ended. But I can remember that was a very tough time in between migraines and sickness and all that stuff. And another thing I can also remember from working there, this day I was on a day shift, I think. There was a woman, she was seasonal, I do believe, because I think she was going to college at this time. But I think she was working certain days and I was working certain days. But this particular day, of course, I was working and it was daytime, so I was actually going outside feeding. I think they had one dog and a bunch of cats, so we was always feeding a bunch of cats and that one little dog. I mean, super cute, super cute. But I was taking care of them, and I think I just got done feeding all of them. And I went to the kitchen. I think I was going to wash dishes or something. I can't remember. It's been a minute. But I was doing something there, and I looked out the kitchen window, and I seen a snake in a tree. It was going up, and then I happened to recognize that that's why the cats was also throwing a fit, because they wanted to play with it. And I was like, So thankfully I had pretty much gotten my chores from outside done, because the chores, I'm pretty sure, was watering a bunch of plants, feeding a good amount of cats, and feeding the dog. But yeah, that was pretty much back then. And I would have quit, but honestly I think the only thing that really kept me going was because that was like that one time that I was making money. And honestly, no, I wasn't rich, but I had enough money that I just didn't know what to do with it, so I just kind of saved it. And of course, in the end, when all was said and done, I ended up moving out from that house, which means I also quit the job at the same time. Actually, I think what happened is I hadn't worked for a minute, so I didn't know what was going on, if she had quit me or what was going on. I'm not sure, but I know I was still technically working. It's just they wouldn't give me any days. Like, it was very few. I'd get called in once in a blue moon, but from there, eventually it came down to I decided to move out, and I moved, like, I think it's an hour and 45 minutes away from that place, or longer than that, I'm not sure. And so from there, that's whenever the money actually came in handy, because I needed a bed and stuff like that. So in the end, I ended up using that money for a bed and stuff like that, and pretty much just basic little needs. So I guess in the end, I mean, it was a good thing that I was saving up money, just didn't know it at that time, and it was a good thing and came in handy when needed. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video from right here. Please let me know how y'all's Mother's Day is gone, if you're a mother, and if you're going to go see your mother. Let me know what you got planned and how it goes, and yeah, I would like to know, and I'm really hoping everybody has a great day. And yeah, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment below, of course, about Mother's Day and how your month is going. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye. Also, to everyone that is still here, thank y'all so much for all the subs and the views and stuff like that. I greatly appreciate all of it, and I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate all of it. Okay, bye.